Hello, we are beginning now one more video session. Class 10th English first flight, poem number 8, The Trees. We have already completed more than half of the syllabus now. We are moving next further. So, in this particular poem, the writer of this poem is Adrian Rich. I am going to just brief about the poet. Adrienne Rich was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. She was a famous poet, essayist, and feminist. She has published 19 volumes of poetry, 3 collections of essays, and other writings. Now, I am just moving on to the actual poem now. You can see I will be reading the poem stanza by stanza, and at the same time I'm going to just explain it. The trees. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. The forest that was empty all the time, all these days, where no bird could see, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights, will be full of trees by morning. This particular poem has full of literary devices. In the beginning, the personified. What is that? The sun is here personified. Sun is here personified. So, sun is shown as sun is burying its feet. Okay, and you can see that other literary devices also, such as enjambment, continuation of sentence to the next line, the forest that was. You can see the forest that was. Again, here also it is repeated in the sixth line, the forest that was, trees by morning. Okay, and end of the stanza with this one. At the same time, you can see the one more literary device, anaphora. 2 lines begin with no. You can see here no and no. Line number 4 and 5 begins with anaphora. So there also you have to keep your attention. Now I am going to just give you some explanation of this particular stanza. The poet says that the trees are moving out of the confines of the houses into the open forest. This is unrealistic as trees are immovable, and hence we realize that the poem has a symbolic meaning. We interpret that trees refer to females who have healed themselves and are ready to move out of their homes into the forest to fulfill their primary purpose of filling the world with mankind. So here the female, it is compared with the female only. Further, she adds that the forest has been empty for the past many days because most of the trees are now taken by the humans in their verandas, in their houses, and just beautifying their homes. And insects can be seen as they do not have any shelter and the sunlight cannot form any shadows. The forest of humanity has remained empty for many days but will soon be full and bright. So, poet is hopeful that all these trees will come back again in the forest. In the second stanza, you can see that all night the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. The leaves strain toward the glass, small twigs steep with exertion, long cramped bugs shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patient. Here the metaphor is used here. Okay, some similes are also used here, so that you have to see. Half day is moving into the clinic. So I'm going to just explain now. The poet explains the struggle done by the plants to reach the forest. She says that roots worked for the whole night to separate themselves from the veranda floor. The leaves tried hard to reach the window of glass so that they could go outside. Even the small stems of the trees put much of their effort in order to set themselves free. The big branches were also trying a lot to go out from the roof of the room. We can say that women are desperate for a change, and their effort compared to patient who has been released from the hospital, and he tries to move out in a hurry although he is confused, maybe because they are half conscious and are under the influence of some medication. They are unsteady but in a hurry to leave the clinic. So this was the explanation of the second stanza. You can see we are in the now the next stanza. I sit inside. Doors open to the veranda, writing long letters in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. Here also you can see that the alliteration, the literary device alliteration, long letters, the repetition of the vowel here in the form of alliteration. Forest from sky still, leaves and lichens. Okay, leaves and lichens. Enjambment again it's given. It's also one more imagery here. Literary device is imagery. The poet has tried to create scene in which she is observing all the things happening. Okay, so this is what the stanza is telling. Now the explanation. The poet says that she is sitting in her veranda writing long letters. She does not mention about the trees, leaving her house in her letters. She says that the night is very clear. She can see the complete moon which is shining. The smell of leaves and the lichens. It's like a voice which is yelling and expressing a desire for freedom from the confines of the house. So beautiful these lines are, an explanation. So children, you can just go through this poem, you will enjoy. In the next stanza, my head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Listen, the glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. Here, similarly, the moon is compared to a broken mirror. Okay, so you can see that the simile is also used by the poetess. Okay, now the explanation of this particular stanza. Her head is full of the snow sounds made by the trees which are desperate to move out. These sounds will not be heard the next day. The poet asks the reader to listen carefully as a change is about to take place. She hears the glass window breaking and the trees tumble out into the night. The wind is blowing outside. It meets the trees. The moon is like a mirror and it appears to have been broken into pieces as the shadow of the oak tree divides the moon into many fragments. So children, so this was the complete explanation of this poem, The Trees. At the same time, I have also given some questions along with the answers. But what I suggest you not to copy all the answers as I have given as it is, but try to write the answers according to your understanding and thinking. Okay, so at the same time, all the answers, okay, small and the big ones, you will get here. Okay, so go through this poem and the explanation and question answers which are given at the end of the text or the poem, and the answers which are given by me. Okay, so this was all about this particular poem. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.